courage. State of the black man willing to serve. State of the black man willing to sacrifice and empty oneself. Let's give it up for Chief. Let's give it. It is indeed true that Brother Dale, Brother Keo, just so wonderful working this out, facilitating my coming. And they work with the brother who I'll take a bullet for right in the center of my heart. Yes, indeed. And each time we come to Texas, it's like coming home, you see, because my beloved mother, Irene B. West, and I'll never be one half of the human being she was. She grew up in Orange, Texas. Y'all heard of Orange? Near Beaumont, near Port Arthur. Cliff was born in Port Arthur. That note, I want to salute the brothers who were here as part of the conversation in this dialogue. There was a whole lot of care, a whole lot of concern, a whole lot of insight, a whole lot of wisdom, most importantly, a whole lot of love and willingness to serve and sacrifice. Give it up for the panel. Give it up for the panel. There's a sense in which things have become so overwhelmed. Things are getting more and more grim and dim. We've been like that a long time. But we live in a very, very unique moment in the moment of spiritual decay and moral decadence of the American empire. 1% of the population own 90% of the wealth. 3 individuals have wealth equivalent to 50% of the citizenry. That's 160 million people have wealth equivalent to 3 individuals. That's a spiritually sick society. So then when we talk about our precious young folk, I'm glad to see brothers there raising his voice. And the anthem of black folk is lift every voice, not lift every echo. We're not people of echo out there. We're people who find our voices, and you can't find your voices if you don't find your calling and your vocation. And if you have a deep calling, then you don't fall prey to just your career. If you have a vocation, you don't fall prey to just your profession. Something bigger and grander is calling you to be a force for good, in the language of John Coltrane. A force for good. You have to be intentional about that. You have to be deliberate about that. You have to be conscious and be willing to cut radically against the grain of what I learned in Shiloh Baptist Church. To be in the world, but not of the world. The kingdom of God is within you, and everywhere you go, you ought to leave a little heaven behind. That's not just rhetorical cliche. That ought to sit at the center of who we are, and how we act, what we see, and the depths of what we feel. So we need to be reminded, and I was thinking about this rich dialogue, we need to be reminded that there has never been a people in the last 400 years who have been so chronically hated. The very fact that there's black people still here in their right mind is a miracle. 400 years is a long time to be told you're less beautiful, you're less moral, you're less intelligent. And try to make sure that black people are always scared, intimidated, laughing when it ain't funny, scratching when it don't itch. And then put on the mask and think that's the way to move through the mainstream. Remember Paul Laurence Dunbar's great poem, "We wear the mask." And I can hear James Baldwin saying, love forces us to take off the mask we think we cannot live without, but fear we cannot live within. Love forces us to take off the mask that we fear